Hello, CQ calling CQ the Old Friends Net. CQ the Old Friends Net. This is WA4LLR. Dave in Burnsville, North Carolina calling CQ the Old Friends Net. This net meets on this frequency 3 times weekly, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 a.m., Sunday afternoons or evenings at 5 p.m. The net's conducted in the amplitude modulation mode carried out in the roundtable format. So, stations wishing to participate in this net, give me a call and come now.
WB4ARK.
KZ4B.
WB4NKL. W4KR.
W4DCS.
All right. Well, you have thus far WB4ARK, KZ4B, WB4NKL, WK4R, and W4DCS. Do we have any others?
N4LQ.
W4KR, I called in before, Dave. NK, I did WK4R commit at the same time, or did you miss it?
That was probably my brain cramp. Oh, me. All right, let me do it again. WB4ARK, KZ4B, WB4NKL, W4KR, W4DCS, and N4LQ. Any other? All right, there are others. I'm not hearing them. One more time down the list. ARK, 4B, NKL, KR, DCS, and LQ. Any other station? Okay, good morning to everybody. All signals sound good. I hope you all are doing well on this Thursday, July the 17th. We're on the downhill slide of July, and boy, summer is going by in a hurry. We've got about 60 Looks like about 67 degrees and partly cloudy. Possibly some storms in the afternoon. I'm running lazy this morning, the Babcock, the SB220, and the HQ150. So, Mr. Buddy, let's go down to you. WB4ARK, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, WB4ARK. Okay, Dave. Very good copy on everybody this morning. We've got some overcast here. Sun's trying to peek through, but having a hard time. And yes, we're expecting some showers this afternoon, although we were expecting some yesterday, but we only got 0.1 inches of rain yesterday, so that was not much to brag about. Barely wet the driveway. So with that, we will turn it over to KZ4B, KZ4B, WB4ARK.
Okay, WB4ARK and the group KZ4B, fine business, buddy. Conditions are typical summertime. Heavy QS Baker. Signals are swinging from extremely strong to weak and then back again. We're on Steve's T150 still, and haven't changed that. Receiving on the PR30 Palstar, and the amplifier's AL82 driving a resonant 80-meter dipole. So fairly typical. Interesting thing, I am incorporating, and I'm wondering if anybody's ever heard of it. I'm incorporating a national M as in Mary, L as in Lima 40-Bravo tuning unit in the grid circuit of my broadcast transmitter. What's interesting about it is that it's a 4-gang capacitor with 2 coils that with the rotation, 180-degree rotation of the gang capacitor shaft, it covers 80 through 10 meters, and rather than having a tapped coil. And with a Henson Kinks article, you can modify it by shunting one of the coils. There's a low frequency coil and a high frequency coil, and you shunt the low frequency coil with a 400 micromic capacitor, and lo and behold, the thing covers 160 meters as well. You have to switch that capacitor in and out, and it's kind of like going around your elbow to get your rear end, and therefore I don't think it ever really took off like they probably hoped. But if you look at any handbook article from the after World War II until the mid-50s, a lot of the construction articles utilized that tuning arrangement. There were several versions for different power levels, so you could use it in the driver's section and then in the final, and it just had bigger capacitors and bigger coils as the power went up. But it strikes me as being fairly expensive to make relative to a tap coil with a 5-position band switch and a capacitor. But anyway, I bought one at the Richmond Ham Fest, I'd say 5 or 6 or maybe more years ago, and new in the box, and I'm using it in the broadcast transmitter in the grid circuit. so that it will indeed cover 160 through 10 meters. So I hope you guys understand what I'm talking about. It's a really interesting thing, not too common. So on that note, over to Clint, WB4NKL in the group, KZ4B over.
KZ4B, WB4NKL. I've seen those advertised, John, but in some of the old handbooks, QSTs, but I never did have one. Interesting concept. I guess it'd be easy, unless it's marked well, to get tuned up on the wrong frequency with that type of adjustment. I'm running the BC610 again today, and got about 70, up to about 72 degrees already, warming up. I'll stay in for one more, but then I'm gonna get out and get the walk in before it gets much warmer. David Babcock sounds good as always, and give Steve the day off, so he really did take a day off, didn't he? I think he was supposed to call it today, and he off swapped. Buddy, we got a 1/10 of an inch here last night of rain too. It must have rained hard for about 5 minutes. It woke me up. It was raining so hard I didn't even look at the clock, but looked in the gauge this morning, and 1/10 of an inch is all that accumulated. So send it on around. Go ahead, Stan. W4KR, WB4NKL.
Okay, Cliff. You caught me across the room at the other desk. WB4NKL, the old friends W4KR. Well, good morning, everybody. Been a while since I've been in here, but anyway. Temperature 71 here this morning. Cloudy, overcast, humid, and that's really about it. I'm running the Ranger 2 this morning, all by itself. Just the Ranger 2 and the 75A2 receiver. And that's it for this morning, and Cliff, I discovered what the problem was, and it wasn't a problem after all. I'll explain this some other time, but it's just easy to fix, and it was a cabinet-related thing, not a circuit-related thing. So with that, let me see here. Let me take a look. Doug, W4DCS, your turn. W4KR.
W4KR in the group, W4DCS. Good morning, all. From Winston-Salem, it's hot this morning, 78 degrees. Overcast, calling for some storms possibly. Not much else to tell. Been doing some rearranging here. Dug the Flex out, the Flex 6400, hooked it back up. I haven't used it in quite some time, so it's always a challenge to get the software side playing nice. Steve, I think you used to have one of these rigs. It's quite a different world with no knobs or buttons, just a computer display. But they do make nice AM with some nice brick wall filters. But not my favorite rig by any means. But I was playing with it, so I thought I'd fire it up this morning. I've got a lot of local noise here this morning, so not the best copy. But anyhow, we'll keep it going. N4LQ, W4DCS, what did you think of that 6400?
Oh, W4DCS, N4LQ. I've been back and forth here this morning. I got dog problems, and XYL yelled at me to come and get the dog. She threw up. So I ran them both outside down to the yard, and I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I had the window open, so and when I was outside I could hear voices from the radio, but I couldn't tell what they were saying. How did I like the Flex? I didn't have a 6400. I think you've had a Flex for a long time. I had a 6300 and a see, a 1500, a 6300, a 6500, and the last one I had was a 6600. It was okay. It had a few issues on CW, but yeah, I mean the AM quality is always good on them, as long as you got yours set just right. The audio sounds perfect. It's got a lot of good highs, and it's very articulate and easy to understand, so I wouldn't mess with that. John, I don't know anything about broadcast transmitters. I'd like to, but I've never messed with one, and it sounds very interesting, whatever it is you're talking about, but I think I'd have to see a picture before I understood it. Got a very, very slight chance of rain coming in this afternoon. We got sprinkled on yesterday. We were out on the deck, and we felt just little tiny drops of water, and then it just quit, so nothing ever happened. Got the grass cut, ready for another rain. So it's been a good summer as far as rain goes. Let's see, I guess it goes back to Dave, WA4LLR, N4LQ.
Let me stand by. Do we have any other check-ins for the old friends coming in? All right, what's that song? If my phone's not ringing, it must be you not calling. So I guess we've got everybody this morning. All righty, well, Steve, sorry about the dog problems. Yeah, that's handy when the ex-wild starts yelling, come get your dog, clean this mess up. Ours has been pretty good about that. Haven't had very many instances that we have to clean up. Now the cat, if it decides it needs to get rid of a hairball, it doesn't care where it is. So, oh well. The consequences of having creatures in the house. And Doug, as much as it pains me to admit it, you've got the big signal, and you're the bandmaster this morning, and on a black box. Good grief! But boy, you sound good. Stan the Ranger 2 is coming through just fine, and Cliff the BC 610 always sounds good. And appreciate you delaying your walk long enough to get in here a couple of rounds. And John, the T150 you got from Steve sounds just as good as the other one that you have. Doing a great job. Not familiar with that tuning unit that you're integrating with your broadcast transmitter, but sounds quite interesting. And Buddy, 1/10 of an inch of rain. We didn't get any rain yesterday. I saw some storms around, but none of them got to us. Well, let's see. Space weather, sunspot count's 182, solar flux index is 152, and the K is, one group says 4, one says 3.7, so 6.7, so it's about 4. So a little bit unsettled. They're saying we've got a very good chance of flares today. This day in history, it was a bad day for transportation. On this day in 2014, Malaysian Airlines Flight 17 crashed in Ukraine, taking 298 lives, and a Dutch investigation determined it was shot down by a Russian surface-to-air missile. On this day in 2009, Walter Cronkite died at age 92. Had the moniker of being the most trusted man in America. On this day in 1998, United Nations established the International Criminal Court, which seems to be a very biased group. Anyway, I'll not go further than that. On this day in 1996, flight TWA Flight 800 crashed into the Atlantic, taking 230 lives. The official explanation was a mixture of fuel and air igniting in a fuel tank. Others believe it was shot down by a missile. On this day, 1995, Disneyland opened in California. On this day in 1944, Field Marshal Erwin Rommel was seriously injured when the car was forced off the road by British fighter bombers. And on this day in 1918, the Carpathia, the ocean liner that rescued survivors of Titanic, was sunk by a German U-boat. And all our heroes at this time of year. In 1902, mechanical engineer Willis Carrier completed the drawings for what would become the first modern air conditioner. So, let's see. Let's go back to Buddy. WB4ARK, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, WB4ARK. Yeah, Carrier really curbed the market on that AC for a while, and very interesting concept. Well, Steve, I wonder if the components, being that this is in the grid circuit, if the component size is fairly small. By that I mean, say a couple of inches by a couple of inches, rather than something that might be in the tank circuit. I guess it was always designed to go in the grid circuit of a transmitter. Be interesting to hear about that. And that's a pretty interesting concept, although I'm like Cliff, you really got to be careful about tuning up and not getting on the wrong frequency. Yeah, I would definitely want a frequency counter connected to the unit to make sure that it was on the right frequency. Very interesting device, and I hope you get your unit up and running here pretty soon. Let's see. Well, I've got kind of burned out after 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, out in the searing heat and humidity for best part of a day each time. So it kind of caught up to me yesterday, feeling kind of burned out. So I guess at my age, that's probably to be expected. So we'll send it on over to Tom and let him talk about his installation on the broadcast transmitter. So, WB4ARK.
Okay, WB4ARK in the group KZ4B, fine business, buddy. Very good. Your comment and Cliff's about the MB40L being touchy frequency-wise is absolutely correct. What I'm counting on is being able to set the tank circuit, which is a it's a B&W 850 tap coil, and once I set the tank circuit, then I'll look at the output power via an RF ammeter and tune the grid circuit for maximum output and use that to determine which of the many settings is giving me the most output, and hopefully that will keep me out of trouble. Or it could bite me in the butt. We will see. Steve, the MB40L has nothing at all to do with broadcast transmitters in general. It's strictly a ham thing. It was a resonant circuit where you rotate the shaft of this 4-gang capacitor, and it covers 80 through 10 meters, and then you can shunt it with a 400 micromark to cover 160. And to me, it's rather complicated, but you know, since I bought a new in the box one, it was already done, so why not use it? And if you look at, like I say, post-World War II to mid-50s construction article in the Ham publication, the MB40L series was very common, and sometimes they'd use it in every stage, including the final. And Buddy, they just increase the size of the unit. It's not any, it's a little larger than, say, a tap coil maybe because of the 4-gang capacitor, but only because there's 4 gangs. And you know, there's no magic size-wise, but it just eliminated the tap switch. And so you could buy one that was big enough to use as your final tank circuit, or you could buy one that was much smaller in the driver, which is what I've got, my MB40L. The 40, I think, was the power rating. It's 40 watts. It was good for 40 watts RMS, or that's my guess. I could be wrong about that. But it's an interesting thing, and National Radio patented it and sold it, and I don't know of a piece of commercial equipment that ever utilized it. And hopefully it's not because for good reason. We will find out, but that's what we are using in the grid circuit of the broadcast transmitter. You know, broadcast transmitters were just covered the broadcast band, so you know, you buy one for one frequency and that was it. So they didn't need such an animal in broadcast service. It was strictly a ham radio thing. Enough said on that. Weather-wise, shifting gears, there's been horrendous static on AM when I'm listening to my AM radio stations every day. So there have been some major thunderstorms in the area. I could even hear thunder, but I don't think we've gotten much rain at all here. It seems like in this particular location, most rain either goes north or south, but never here. And that means that it's good that I live on a lake where I can use lake water to irrigate the lawn, because in a typical summer, my lawn would dry up and die. But I pump lake water, which is just the cost of running the pump, as opposed to having to use city water, which can bankrupt you. So there. And we've had a couple of good rains this summer, but they predict rain every day, and we've seen very little of it, for whatever that's worth. And shifting gears again, Dave, it sounds like today in history was quite active. That was quite a list of notable things that occurred on this date, to say the least. And signal strength wise, people are up strong and then down weak, but I think on average, Buddy, you're the strongest today. Usually Doug pounds in here, but I'm having trouble copying Doug, even though Dave says he's the strongest today. So it's strictly propagation, and whatever that's worth. And so, in case I forget to say it later, thanks for calling the net, Dave. Net control, you know, I like to do it myself, but I cannot hear here because of the local noise. And so my hat's off to a good net control that can hear everybody. I'm very envious in that regard. So, it's time over to you, Cliff. WB4NKL on the group KZ, 4B over.
Yeah, KZ4B, WB4NKL. Well, I don't think anybody'd have any trouble hearing you, John. You ain't got a big signal in here. Too bad about the receive. Might have to consider a remote receiver or something, get away from that noise. Good copy on everybody here. Everybody's coming in just fine. And yeah, hats off to Mr. Carrier. That was a good thing he invented. My dad we built a new house in 1960, and he was Dad had read, nobody around here had a heat pump, but Dad had read about them, and he wanted one in the new house, so he had a heat pump installed in the new house in 1960, and it was a Carrier unit. And I don't think there was a dealer around here close. They maybe had to come out of Knoxville. But I guess that company was the offshoot from the original inventor, I guess. I'm not positive on that, but I enjoyed the Carrier air conditioning unit, heat pump unit in 1960. We didn't have anything before then except a coal furnace. So I've been around I'll call it angel breath, about all my life. So I'm going to get out and get to going before it gets any hotter, and enjoyed it this morning, and thanks for calling it, Dave. Stan, glad you found the Ranger problem. Go ahead, Stan. W4KR, WB4NKL.
Yeah, WB4NKL, W4KR. Well, you know, in the cabinet, they've got three little gadgets to guide the lines. Both with holes in them. They're kind of hangers, and the middle one was bent, and it was putting pressure on the top of the VFO cage, and I could see it had been scratched. The top of the cage had been scratched before. Once I took it out of the case, I fired it up and it was fine. So, that's what it is. So I bent that 90-degree thing with a hole in it, and that gave it clearance. And back in the cabinet again, and it's running. There was first thing I did was put it back in the cabinet. And what? No, what? That was last night. No, I'm not going to mess with it tonight. It's been a long day. Left my house at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's been a long day, so 6 a.m. and 300 miles, and one way, it's 150 each way, so I said, that's a tomorrow morning party. I came down here and scoped it down a little bit, and I said, yeah, that's what it is, so I bent it a little bit, and it's okay now, so enough of that. John, have a good day, be safe in your walk. John, I have an MB40 and an MB150 here, each new in the box, brand new, never been used, and I bought them over the years on eBay, and boy, that scared me. And, I let go of the grip on the G stand a little bit. I was gonna always had visions of using building an amplifier with those things in it, one of those things in it. Now the MB40, if memory serves me, I think it's the MB40, either that or the 150, but I think it's the 40 that's in the Johnson Thunderbolt. So it's used there, and I think the broadcast people didn't use it. I think for obvious reasons. One was cost, but two was they were. And I'm speaking for Collins now. Are always fussy about distortion, and didn't want SWR to get in the way with anything in the box. So that's now their V2 and 20V2, 20V3s could be used up to about 12 megs. I've heard them on 20 meters, but that's as far as they would go. And but they didn't do it. They went the conventional coil and capacitor way for the driver stages in the final. Okay, with that, I'm going to sign also. I got a bunch of errands I have to run this morning. Stuff I was originally going to do yesterday, but put it off. So today I've got still got some loose ends to tie up. Anyway, with that, Doug, here it comes. And if not, I don't recall if you just said, Doug, you were going to sign or not. If not, pick it up, Steve. W4DCS, W4KR. Good morning. See everybody tomorrow or Sunday.
I think he turned it to me.
He did.
Okay, Stan. W4KR, W4DCS. Lost you in the noise here, which I've got a lot of here. But Dave, it's funny you mentioned carrier and airplane crashes. My grandfather, on my father's side, was vice president of sales for Carrier Corporation back in the late 40s in Syracuse, which is where the home base was there. Still is, I believe. And in 1952, he and three other executives from Carrier took an airplane flight. It was in December, I believe, from Syracuse to Newark. And the pilot screwed up, and I think he forgot to cut the bleed air on to the carburetors, and carburetor icing caused the plane to crash. And everybody on board the plane was killed. So I never knew him. He died, I think it was in January or February, I think it was. And I was born in the following November, so interesting story there. And yeah, I've got to track down some noise here. I've got what looks like a carrier every 10 kilocycles, right on the 0, and the 10 and the 20, like that. So, you know, because we're on 15, I'm able to tolerate it to a degree, but I've got to take some time to figure that one out. I'm wondering, I wouldn't think power line noise would throw a signal that looks like a carrier, like an oscillator every 10 kilocycles. Any input on that appreciated. But Dave, thanks for calling it, and I'll turn it to you. W84LLR, W4DCS. And by the way, Bobcat. Babcott. No, I'm all talked with it, but it sounds great, man. W4LLR, W4DCS.
It goes down to Steve, I think.
Yeah, I think the W4DCS N4LQ. All right, Dave. And Doug, real good. I was just looking on eBay for a MB40, and I found several. One of them looks real nice, $99. Apparently there's the L model. There's several of those for sale, and the L model has an adjustable remote link with a shaft coming out the front. Looks like that would be something that you'd want to have, I guess, unless it was a fixed tuned operation. Yeah, anyway, well, everybody was pretty strong here except Stan was pretty weak. I had a little trouble picking him out, but everybody else is real strong. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I missed Stan's first transmission, so maybe he's running barefoot or something. But it's good to hear you again, Stan. Hadn't heard you for a while at least on this net. So I will say we had a good time last night on 160, talking about whisper a lot, and 6-meter whisper. It's something I want to try here and see if I can be heard anywhere with that. Other than that, that's about it for here. So I guess I'll go ahead and pass my 73s along. Dave, thanks for taking the net. And back to you, WA4LLR, N4LQ.
Okay, Steve, fine business. N4LQ, WA4LLR. Any late check-ins? Come now.
Yeah, W4MC.
I knew you were lurking somewhere. Oh, man. Charlie, go ahead and tell us something. W4MC, WA4LLR.
Okay, Dave, WA4LLR, W4MC. I think I got in on I guess this was the third round, and because I copied Buddy, I think he turned it. Actually, I had the audio RF gain at 0, and he was warming up, and I think I heard him say, thanks, Dave, or something. So anyway, I guess I heard the whole round there. Anyway, and it's 74 degrees here. That's just kind of hot and humid for this morning, and clear. Well, partly cloudy, clear. And I listened to all that through that, and you mentioned Carrier. The only thing I got to say about Carrier is they used to be, well, maybe they still are, but they used to be really good air conditioning systems, and we used a lot of them. And then they got proprietary and complicated, and there was a time where you could go to a Granger and buy the parts to fix one, and it's kind of like John Deere tractors. Now, number one, they don't tell you the circuitry, and you can't get any parts anywhere. So we slowly weaned ourselves off of Carrier air conditioners, and went with more generic ones that work just as well, but you could get parts for them. So anyway, so all right, that's about it. I don't want to tie up anything. WA4LLR, W4MC.
Oh, no problem. I'm glad you made it in. And we certainly have time for a 73 round. Let's see, Doug. Yeah, a few years back I used to do a lot of experimenting with whisper, but I've not done it in quite a while. But it's an interesting mode. I don't think I ever tried it on 6, but good luck with that. And Doug, sorry to hear about your grandfather and that plane crash. A signal every 10 kcs I don't think is a power line. I've got to think that's something in the shack or in the house that's generating that. Years back I had a problem with a touch lamp that generated signals up and down the band. Let's see what else. But I would be surprised if it's not some kind of signal generator that's in the house. And Stan, if you're listening, good detective work on solving the Ranger issue. And buddy, sorry that you overdid it out in the sun. I did that a few days ago, and it kind of really took the sap out of me too. There was one more item from this day in history I thought was interesting. It said on this day in 1938, Douglas Wrong Way Corrigan crossed the Atlantic. Douglas Corrigan was one of the mechanics that worked on the Spirit of St. Louis for Lindbergh, and 11 years later he decided he wanted to try to get in the spotlight. So he bought a 1929 Curtiss Robin off of a trash pile, rebuilt it, and flew it nonstop from California to New York. And then he said he wanted to fly it across the Atlantic. And the officials thought it was a suicide mission to try to fly that junk heap across the Atlantic, so they told him if he did, they'd pull his license. But they told him he could fly it back to the West Coast. And on July the 17th, he took off from Floyd Bennett Field, pointed west. A few minutes later, he whipped it around 180 degrees and disappeared in a cloud bank. And 28 hours later, he landed in Dublin, Ireland, stepped out and said, "Where am I? I just got in from New York and got lost in the clouds and my compass malfunctioned." Well, the authorities didn't buy it and promptly suspended his license. But everybody started calling him Wrong Way Corrigan. But by the time he got his plane boxed up and shipped back to the United States, they changed their minds, gave him his license back. He became a national celebrity. Wrong Way Corrigan. Anyway, I've got a question for you, John. On your T150, I think you drive a Maritron amp with that. How much drive are you using? How much power are you taking from the transmitter and putting in the amp? My T150, I've tried running it through the dummy load, teeing the dummy load in, and I'm still getting a little excessive drive to me. My drive is still about 18 watts or a little better going into this B220, and that just drives it too hard. I'm getting, 400 or 500 watts out of it. So I'm just wondering is your amp capable of withstanding more drive, or how are you limiting that? That's just a question I have for you. Anyway, let's see here. Who's with us? I believe Buddy's still there, and John, and I don't think Doug signed, and Charlie's still with us. I think Steve signed. So, Buddy, here it comes if you're still there. WB4ARK, WA4LR.
WA4LLR, WB4ARK. Yeah, my father used to talk about Wrong Way Corrigan a lot. That was a household name back in the 50s. So, yeah, I thank you for doing the lot, Dave. And so it looks like weather conditions are still kind of almost overcast. The sun's not really bright. And so we've got some cloud cover off in the east, so and a little bit here in the west area too that I can see. So we're going to say 73 at this point, and hope everybody has a great rest of this week. So we're looking for some parts from Central Sales, Nebraska, and as soon as we get that, we'll be able to get on with the project that we're working on. So let's see. The weather here has been a little bit strange this summer, as it does periodically, not this year, but not last year, but in years past, where we have storms that bypass us and go to the north of us or south of us and leave us stranded here in the middle, so to speak. And that's what's been going on here in this area. So hopefully we will get that rectified soon and be in the rain portion of the weather. So we got our fingers crossed. So with that, over to John, KZ4B, WB4ARK. Okay, WB4ARK in the group. This is KZ4B, fine business, buddy. Good solid transmission that time. Dave, I am operating on, I'm trying to remain ignorant. I haven't gone to any trouble to measure the output power from the AL82, which I used to have a 220. There's actually a 221, but I got them to sell me a replacement 220 front panel. And it runs considerably lower plate voltage than the AL82. I'd say it's 2,500 volts-ish versus closer to 32 or 3,300 volts with the AL82. So the AL82 can take a little more drive. We don't want to discuss the output, but I am driving my AL82 with what I assume to be about 25 watts, which I assume is the typical output power maximum of the T150, 1/4 of 100 watts. And and it doesn't seem to be overdriving the AL82 as far as distortion, clipping, or anything like that. That's the situation here, 25 watts out from the T150, and I don't know what the output is, don't want to know, from the AL82. Enough on that subject. The MB40L, I'm shifting gears, Steve. My MB40L, and that's what it says, it's engraved on the back of it, does not have variable link coupling. It's got a link coil from the factory. It had a link coil on the low frequency coil and nothing on the high frequency coil. And I've got a Henson Kinks article that said that if you do that, that it doesn't work very well, that you need to add a high frequency one-turn link on the high frequency coil to keep it from melting the link. And what I'm doing is with the instructions they say with the variable link, that on 80 through 40 meters you take that link and minimize coupling on the low frequency coil and maximize coupling on the high frequency coil, which mine doesn't even have a link. So what I did, according to the article, is to add a two-turn link on the high frequency coil, and I added a switch so that since I can't vary the coupling, on 80 and 40 I switch in, and also 160 when I add the 400 micromic capacitor, shunt capacitor across the low frequency coil. So I've got a toggle switch that switches in and out the 400 micromic capacitor for 160 only, and then for 80 and 40 and 160 I have a toggle switch that switches in the link for the low frequency coil, and then for 20 through 10 I switch that. It's a double pole, double throw switch. I switch in the link to the high frequency coil. And actually I said that wrong. It's single pole double throw, because one side of the link is grounded, which is the side that is tied to the coax shield, and then the hot side is what I switch. So it's a single pole double throw. So one position, 160 through 40, and the other position is 20 through 10. I hope that makes sense. Interesting setup. Again, being 4-gang capacitor, it seems more complicated than a band switch coil, but at least you don't need to worry about a band switch. That you can't hot switch it. You can only get a ticket from the FCC for being on the wrong frequency. So, enough said on MB40. Let's see. Stan, I'm glad you got the Ranger straightened out. Congratulations. It's always a great victory when you can resurrect something. And buddy, you have my sympathy on the heat situation. I'd rather cook than freeze, but I can definitely overheat, and it's no fun when that happens. So again, thanks for calling the net, Dave, and I guess it goes over to Cliff. WB4NKL and the group KZ4B over.
Cliff signed and Stan signed. It goes to Doug.
Okay, John, fine business. Hey, I missed you there in Salisbury, buddy. I got up there late, and you guys had bailed out already, so I'm going to try to make it up to Lansdale. Hopefully I'll see all you guys up there, so looking forward to that. I don't have anything else here, Dave. Thanks for calling it. Good morning, Charlie. I'll turn it to you. W4MEC, W4DCS, 73, guys.
Okay, Doug. W4DCS and the group W4MEC. You're good. Yeah, that 10 mega, every 10 megacycles thing there, I've had that too, and it turned out to be like a service monitor when I had several cables going to it. And it was actually radiating the master oscillator, which is a 10 megacycle, and turned off the signal generator, it went away. It wasn't very strong, but you could hear it on a sensitive receiver. Let's see, we've had the rain here. Yesterday was the only day or evening we had not had rain. Tuesday night I got 1.5 inches of rain and a very bad electric storm. But yesterday we only got it to about 85, 86 degrees. I should have cut grass yesterday, but 85 and 86 are pretty warm to me too. So, but I don't have anybody driving down this gravel road styling and profiling and looking at my yard. I just got cows to look at my yard. I don't care what it looks like. So I take my liberties on letting the wildflowers grow and feeding the bees. So. And I have a MB40L also, and I also have a Barker Williamson plate tank circuit, and I can't remember now what is in that box. And whether it's an output inductor and a band switch and a tuning cap or not, but or it's just the output inductor and band switch. But I have to go look at it. And the whole idea of getting those is just to build an amplifier dedicated only to the military gear, where I can have it set up for low power in, but haven't got around to it. So anyway, thanks for running the net here, Dave. And let's Tom had a similar problem with his AF68 and his 30L1. He ended up going on eBay and buying these inline attenuators. 20 watt units. They have a bunch of fins on them, and they got like a male connector on one end, a female on the other, and you can just put it in line as long as you don't have a receiver if it's in that half of the circuit. Just got to put it in a transmitter. But he ended up getting a couple of them to figure out what would work, and that cured his problem with AF68 and that Collins amp. So I'll look into something like that. So we'll see y'all on Sunday afternoon, or maybe on the net on Tuesday on 1864. 730 WA4LR, W4MEC.
Okay, Charlie, fine business. Yep, I imagine that's the route I'll have to go. I don't push the SB220 too hard. I run it in the tune position and try not to go, more about 250, 300 watts, something like that. But the T150 just has a little too much output. Mine, I've checked it on several watt meters, and mine runs about 35 watts or maybe 38 watts, somewhere in that vicinity. So it's even through the gummy load, it's still a little bit hot. So I may have to go and get an inline attenuator. Well, gentlemen, I've enjoyed it this morning. Thank you all for checking in. And Doug, hope you get the interfering signal chased down. Everybody stay as cool as possible. And buddy, we have the same issue here. Seems like the storms just either go north of us or south of us. And I assume that's the Black Mountain Range that's our next door neighbor. A lot of them go up the state line between Tennessee and North Carolina, follow that ridge. So Cliff gets them when we don't. Anyway, everybody have a great day. 7-3, God bless, and Lord willing, I won't sleep through the net on Sunday. This is WA4LLR, Dave, Burnsville, North Carolina, closing this session of the Old Friends Net. 7-3.